Hello. Hello, and welcome to A Theme Park Manager Plays. We're doing something a bit different from our normal career mode. We are starting franchise mode. So in franchise mode, you can see there are a couple of different places that we can build parks. The idea is that you're basically starting your own entertainment company. And so we've selected this starting park here, and it's giving us the temperate biome. So the idea with franchise mode is that there are leaderboards and different challenges to compete through, and I'm curious to find out if the way that we play this game is going to get us up in the ranks. So the current challenge that is going through the end of November is just a total cash challenge. So the person with the most money in the bank is going to win. Currently, we've got the Zeosis Co., and they've got over $3 billion in the bank, which is nuts. So we're gonna see how this goes. Okay. So here we are in our empty plot of land. We have just a open space. We're going to build a project. So, keeping with realism, I want to approach this from the standpoint that we are, starting an entertainment company. We're building our first property. So in order to do that, we have to get offices going. We have to get all of that stuff going first that we need to that needs to be there in order to establish an actual company. Let me know if you think this is an interesting concept to come at this from, like, we're actually trying to keep this completely steeped in realism, even in how we approach this. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to build, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, guys, so here is the little construction area for our new office building. This is kind of how I think I want to do this. I'm going to show you guys what everything kind of looks like, and then we're gonna come back and we're going to do a time lapse to see how we got there. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do was start to establish some boundaries for the park, and I also wanted to establish a scale right away. Mostly with the roads that we're going to be putting in here. So what I'm doing is I'm seeing what the width of the road or of a path needs to be in order to accommodate a 2-lane road, and then and specifically with the buses that are in the game, because I want to be able to come back through and put the buses down and have them kind of like drive around. I think it'll be cool. So once I knew what the width of a 2-lane road would be, I came back through and I essentially doubled the width so I can get 4-lane roads. And here I'm just putting in an intersection to kind of see where we're going to be at. Started with the rounding tool, and then I remembered that I just watched an awesome tutorial from Ruble Trillions about rounding out these corners, and he brought up a tip that's super easy. Basically, all you do there is you switch your path tool from straight to angled, and that makes the path come from the inside. And then when you have an angle snap on, you can curve the corners of an intersection super easy. So that was that there. Over here now, this is going to be the entrance to the backstage, like the maintenance and the employee area for the park. So again, wanted to establish a 4-lane entry, because there's going to be 2 lanes going in, and then 2 turning lanes going out, essentially. So and then when I zoomed back out, I noticed that I was a little bit too far in, wanted to give myself more space, so I just took that entire thing and shoved it over. It's awesome that we can do that in this game. So here's where we're starting that office building that I was just showing you. Pulling it into the position roughly where I think I'm going to want it, and then starting to put the details on. So I wanted this building to look fairly modern, but almost in a way where we would have purchased a plot of land that maybe already had a building or two on it, like from I don't know if it was an industrial area or whatever, and then remodeled the building to give it more of a modern look. Maybe it was that, or maybe we'll talk about the history of the park, and maybe this was an older building when the park was originally built, and then we've remodeled it since. I'm not exactly sure how I want to tell that story, but either way, I'm still very much getting used to the new pieces in this game. I'm still trying to work out where everything is, what the best workflow is for all of this. And so there's a little bit of back and forth there. I knew that I wanted to try and have recessed windows. That's something that's usually a little difficult in these games because everything is meant to kind of stack on top of itself, and so the windows are usually protruding. And sometimes I let that go, sometimes I don't. And for this build in particular, I knew that I wanted to have pillars on either side of the window. And so I wanted to have that window recessed into the wall. So that's what we did there. Just trying two different ones to see which one I liked better. We ended up going with this one. And then something just, if you're not used to building in this game, and you're going to be doing a building that has repeated patterns, the easiest thing you can do is build the first one and get it how you want it. And then once it's there, you can just copy paste the entire wall, and it really makes your flow so much better, so much faster. And then the last thing on here really quick is we're finding some doors to put on here. I end up going with this one, make it a double door, change the colors to match the Theme Park Manager Plays logo. I don't like that the green was too big, so we switched it, and that was that. Okay, and now we're going to switch over. This is the front of the park. This is our entrance building. There's a lot going on here. So what I want to do, you can see we've got this scaffolding here. We've got a crane moving in the background for a coaster that's being built. And I think that showing this project off in a way where it looks like it's being built from the ground up and seeing how the foundation works, I think it's going to be really cool. So this is the start to our main entrance. You see we got a bunch of trucks in here who are delivering building materials and everything. There's an excavator working on this fountain feature that we're going to have in the front. Like I said, over there we got a crane building a roller coaster. And these, by the way, all these trucks, the excavator, the forklift, and everything, those are workshop items. I'm gonna absolutely link those. The excavator, by the way, just really quick, the excavator moves. I turned all the moving pieces off for this because I didn't want them to be moving, but it looks like it's literally scooping out dirt. It's insane what people are making. So now we're going back to the making boundaries. So, and it's kind of starting to lay out the park. Before I got to this part, I went through and I just did a bunch of random elevation changes all throughout the map. That helps me in making things varied. You don't ever have just a truly completely flat plot of land. You can get land that's pretty flat. But there's always going to be some change in elevation. I think that helps make parks interesting. So starting to sketch out what is going to eventually be a park layout, but the idea with making it look like this is that you would have construction vehicles moving around, and the very first thing that you do in a project is you move earth. And that puts a lot of stress on the ground. And so everything ends up just eventually looking like a big old mud pile, and you can see the trails that are basically made by all these construction vehicles moving around. So I wanted to make it look like that, like we're actually in an active construction site. So now we're starting to build that front facade, and this is loosely inspired by the entrance to Lake Compounce in Connecticut. Now their entrance is a little bit different because the facade that I'm building is actually behind. It's kind of behind the gates a little bit, but I wanted to make this the actual entrance. So the building shape and everything is inspired by Lake Compounce, but it's not functioning in the same way. So this is kind of how I go through and I do my buildings. I don't know if it's any if it's anything groundbreaking. There's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of moving through the menus, trying to find where pieces are, where I can get everything I need. I think there's some things in these menus that are kind of nested in weird places right now. And like, what if I go to filter out a category, the piece that I know should be in there, like for example, if I look for roof trims, there's like a piece that I know I'm looking for that I know is in there, but it won't be in the roof trim category. It won't be in the roof trim menu. I have to actually search trim, and then I'll be able to find what I'm looking for. So just small annoyances there. Building a couple archways to go over the actual turnstiles here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to just pick up the whole thing and copy it over to the other side. There is no need to build anything twice from scratch. There's no need to do that at all. You build it once. Even with this, you build one side, you can turn it around, and then you've got the whole thing. And then once that's good, boom, look at it. You slide it on over, and it's done. For this building, I went back really quick, and I decided that this needs to be more of a guest services building, so just adding a couple of little info booths right there. And now we're going to start working on the upper portion. So there's going to be this little balcony with windows and a tower, and you'll see here in a little bit. I get a little lazy with the tower. I wanted there to be a spire, but I didn't want to take the time to do the actual spire method right now. So I found the one piece in the game that is labeled as a spire, stuck it on there for right now, and we're gonna. It actually looks fine. I may replace that later. We'll kind of see how things turn out. I also started this upper section blue because, again, in my reference image, the upper portion was blue. It is now downpouring, and there's that piece I was talking about. Okay, but you'll see here in a second, actually, and in the live portion you already saw, I end up not liking this color of blue, and we go back through and make everything in this entrance facade a little more natural colored, just because I didn't want this to look. I don't know. I didn't want it to look kitschy and just kind of. I can't even think of the adjective right now. But I zoom back, I look at it, and I'm like, nah, I'm not digging this blue. So we go back to more of these natural tans and whites. But I do like having the red accent all over this. I think that does look nice. And now putting on these trim pieces, guys, with building in this game, you really do. I'm sure you've heard it from other creators. You gotta trust the process. Buildings very rarely look like they're actually good or finished until you start adding things like this. It looked like nothing before, and then you add something as simple as adding those trim pieces just makes the building pop and look even more complete. Now, I don't think that I'm done with detailing this yet. I'm just trying to get structures because that's the way in which I'm going about making the series. But as a building goes, it's pretty good. And then I guess I'll just touch on this really quick. I'm building a clock because for some reason I thought that we had a clock in the game. We had a clock in Planet Coaster 1. Didn't have a big one here, at least not that I could find. So I said, I'll go ahead and make one really quick, and hopefully this will get replaced by an actual piece at some point in the future. And then really quick here, just laying out the pathwork for the main entrance, and we're gonna jump back into real time. So that is that's how we got to here. And now you can see that there are the scaffolding is gone from the front because the front's all done for now. There's some support beams in the back here holding up the roof because we currently have a big hole in the back. And now you can see where we're at here. So we've got this start of a nice little a fountain centerpiece as you walk in. There's our carousel has arrived. That's in the background over there. The coaster is now complete. And this is kind of where we're getting for the first little thing here. You can see off to the left over there, there's sort of an archway that's going to be our exit. And if you were to go back this way, to the left of the carousel here, that's the direction that would take you to backstage. So to get to here, just putting the carousel where I wanted it and starting to get all of our paths going in here. You'll see this a lot, that a lot of flat rides will have their paths, their queues, they'll have their queues go around the actual ride area, the perimeter of the pad. So I want to mimic that here, especially with the carousel. This will have an actual, like, a grand cover over it eventually. And then so now switching over here, you can see we're starting to put in the fountain. If you guys can't tell, I don't do this style very, very often at all of doing voiceover over the time lapse. So if I sound like a complete moron because I don't know what I'm doing, that's correct. I don't. I feel like everything's going very fast and it's hard to catch up. But I also look and see that we're already so many minutes into this and everything. This is overwhelming. I promise I'm going to get better. So thank you for sticking with me and being here from the beginning of this journey. Voicing over time lapse. This is more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie to you. But anyway, we're putting in the barriers. We're putting in the wall. If you see up there, there is a stone statue of one of the guests. That's really great for scale. And then we're gonna put in these lampposts all around the border. Want to just kind of dress up. Mostly this came from dressing up the corners, because the way where the corners come together doesn't look great, and adding something in there to break that up is really helpful. And I said, hey, a lamp on top of this would actually look really cool and would be very correct. So we do that. Kind of just copy all these around. Make sure that there's a base to go down as a footer. Get those in there, and then we're going to add the actual fountains to it. So for the fountains, I'm making it very simple. I'm just adding one straight up jet and a small waterfall bottom piece to kind of give it the splash look, and that's really it. It's very, very simple. And then going back to the front, I wanted to follow the kind of the mud lines that we already had. I knew that I wanted to have buildings in the front, kind of like semicircle horseshoe where you walk up from. So that was just kind of getting the foundation set there. And then we start working on the coaster, and this is the last thing we're going to do for this first episode here. So there were a couple of parameters that I knew I wanted in this coaster. One was I knew I wanted to have the entrance towards the back of the park and have it having a main element right at the front. I knew I wanted it to be exactly 100 feet tall, and I knew I wanted it to be pretty old, either PTC, Philadelphia Toboggan Company, Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters, or DIN Corporation, something like that. Probably DIN, maybe even very early Intamin if we're looking at the late 70s, early 80s. That helix there is absolutely inspired by American Eagle at Six Flags Great America in Chicago. This layout actually in general is kind of inspired by American Eagle, but not nearly as big. That thing is actually huge. A double up here to kind of get us to turn around back towards the station. Currently in Planet Coaster 2, friction, especially on wooden coasters, isn't great. I don't know if that's going to be changing soon. I hope it does. So I thought I could get a little bit of a finale section here, but it turns out there was just not nearly enough speed. So we do one more little airtime hill and a pop-up into the brake. So this is a very short ride, but I think that's okay. This is meant to be an older ride. It's meant to just kind of be this nice thing you see out at the front. And then I just go ahead and take a smoothing pass, and that is that. It's simple as that for building the coaster. We're going to come through here and we're going to change the colors to give it a nice white and red look. Same thing on the trains. Don't have a name for it yet. If you've got a suggestion for a name, please let me know down in the comments. I would appreciate that. And with that, we are back here to the overview of where we're at so far. I really hate that you can see all these annoying power symbols everywhere. I'm gonna see if there's a setting to turn that off. So yeah, let me know how you feel about this, about going into franchise mode and all that. I hope to do more. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know by giving me a like, and a subscription would be very much appreciated. Wow, I think this is the first time I've ever used those words. I'll get better at it, don't worry. So this is where we're going to leave it for now, everybody. Thank you so much for watching A Theme Park Manager Plays, and I will see you in the next one.